Good afternoon, and just we'll kind of follow up from last time we spoke and continue to be taking things personal. You know, it's my responsibility to get this team ready to play each and every week, and it's my responsibility that they play their very best, and we didn't do that, and that's on me. So I have to own that, and I will, and I do, and we got to play better, we got to coach better. So we got beat by a team on that day that was a better football team in all three phases. So I give them credit where credit is due, but also look internally and challenge ourselves. And we had a great team meeting this morning, and the players came to me and wanted to meet. We were all in there together, coaches included, but they wanted to speak. And a bunch of seniors got up and spoke and did a great job of just being leaders and saying what needed to be said and in the right way from the heart, and just really challenging our guys and to respond the right way. So you look at the slate on Saturday, and 7 top 25 teams got beat, and several more could have gotten beat, and you better bring your A game every single week. So we play at the highest level of college football in the Big Ten, and therefore you're going to be playing against the best of the best. So really challenge our guys to be able to respond and to own it, to flush it, and press on. And so that's what our guys have done. Great workout this morning, really good practice on the field, and ready to focus now on the Penn State Nittany Lions. But as we wrap up the game, as we usually do, going through our guys and recognizing them, and still had some players play well. And Ty Freifogel did some good things offensively, so he's our offensive player of the game. And defensively, Jerome Johnson wasn't feeling well at all and was really sick, and just fought right through all that and played his tail off, played really, really hard, made a bunch of plays, and then didn't have anybody on special teams to recognize. And then from the scouts' perspective, very good week of preparation from those guys. They continue to work extremely hard and play with everything they have each day. On defense, the defensive scout players of the week, Connor Schneider, defensive lineman, and defensive lineman Gavin McCabe. And then also offensively, scout team players of the week, TJ Ivey, Sean Bonner, and Ryan Barnes. And then special team scout of the week was Christian Paycheck. So those guys deserve to be recognized for their hard work and all that they do to help us get ready each and every time we take the field. So brings us to today. Beautiful day outside, sunny Bloomington, ready to go. Questions?
Coach, you said preseason that the quarterback battle would come down to who's taking the ball. Peyton has thrown 7 interceptions, which ranks, I think, second to last in the Big Ten. How is he going to improve that, and is that a factor in, maybe trying out a different quarterback?
Yeah, he this last game, to me, the 2 throws he made there in the red zone, chances to score, obviously trying to create something. Both times, but at the same time, got to protect the football, got to get points. We were trying to, at that point, the last one, score a touchdown, not kick field goals. But yeah, he's got to protect the football. That's part of his job. I didn't think he played very well during the game, and we're not bashful about saying those kind of things. We've praised him when he played well. He didn't play his best game. And so, yeah, you always look at all your options with everything you have on your roster to be able to help your team be successful. And so he obviously has to do a great job. One of the things we talk about that position is being, a protector of the football and a distributor of the football, and moving the football team down the field, getting first downs and scoring touchdowns. And so didn't score enough touchdowns and turn the ball over. So have to do a better job. So, yes, that'll be addressed.
Regarding the players meeting this morning, who approached you to lead that effort, and also, I guess, what does that tell you as a coach as far as where the players' minds are at right now? Yeah,
I thought it was awesome. It was Wes Martin and Jacob Robinson were the 2 guys that reached out to me, and they just said, "Hey, Coach, during our team meeting in the morning, can we have a few minutes to talk to the team?" And I said, "Absolutely." We talked some things through, and those guys are just really high-quality guys that care a whole bunch about this place and have been here for a long time and have seen a lot, and they just, more than anything, they wanted to challenge our guys to realize, we got a lot of new guys, a lot of young guys that haven't been through the grind of a Big Ten season, and you get, we've had no bye week yet, so it's just week after week after week, and and it can be draining, on you physically and emotionally and mentally. And so I think they needed to remind the guys that, it's part of the process. You have to own things on film when you get challenged by coaches, and you have to own your play, your practice habits, and everything that you do, and it's the little things, and focus on those little things. So it was really neat to sit back and let the guys talk, and I didn't tell them what to say. And once I had a good idea what I knew they wanted to say, and it was all what was very necessary. And so it was encouraging to see them, kind of in their own way, in their own tone, in their own personality, say the things that we've kind of been preaching here since I've been here, And so just being able to let those guys say it, it's always a powerful thing when it comes from a player, and they want all the coaches, everybody to be in there, and we were, and that was really good. So, but bottom line is you have to respond. It's a tough league, tough schedule, and you got to be a tough guy. And so I thought those guys stood up and really said some good things that need to be said.
So you talked about it a little bit Saturday, but in terms of evaluating, I guess, now that you're on the back half of the season, Mike Penix has played 2 games. Mm-hmm. As you evaluate potential role he would have versus maybe saving that red shirt, is it one where maybe you go into certain weeks thinking we could use him this week, or do you want it to be more on feel so that maybe you don't sort of lock yourself into a plan that then later, maybe backs you into getting rid of the red shirt?
Yeah, and like you said, I think it's totally situational. Peyton's our starter, but Michael's going to play. Exactly when, I'm not sure. But I just know that, it's not a set in stone. We're not going to map this all out. And it definitely a feel for sure as the game is unfolding, and want to give us the best chance to be successful on game day. So that to me is how I would approach that. So we're not going to be too specific in that regard, but I do think that he has to be ready to go 100%. And I think that's even with a lot of these younger guys, it's just the challenge of staying in that mindset week after week, no matter whether you're playing a lot or not playing at all or playing a little bit, is tough for younger guys right out of high school that have never had, this long of a season and this much of a schedule that you have to keep and places you have to be all the time and a lot on your plate. So I think that's part of managing all of our guys that are in his position or in his age group, but yeah, that's definitely something we're looking at all of our options and be able to, have a good plan.
Coach, you talked about taking it personally, and with the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, is there a point where maybe you have to tone things down, maybe not chase officials all over the field? What is your own thought on that?
Yeah, I'm an emotional guy, and I want to defend our guys. I actually, they obviously decided to just throw the flag on me on the second one. The first one was another coach, but and he and I talked that through. But they give the head coach a little more leeway, on things and all that. So, but obviously this guy was not feeling that in that situation. So, but I have to take responsibility for that. And so, my approach is that I want to defend our guys. I don't want to be distracted by the officials. I can't control what they do, but I also want to stand up for our guys, and I'm not going to back down from that. And I'm going to be who I am. But yeah, I don't want to get our team penalties. That's on me. That's not acceptable, and I don't want that to happen again. Because that just hurts our team. So, but I also want them to know that I am watching. I do care. Our guys matter. I'm going to defend them. I'm going to fight for them. But I want to make sure I do it, by just not stepping on the field. I literally took one step out. And but that's, I'm not supposed to do that. So I got to hold myself accountable. So I'll be running stadiums. So that's part of my punishment.
Given some of the past defense issues these last 2 games, any thoughts to reevaluating your schemes or looking at different personnel or some changes in that?
Yeah, you go through, and we had these discussions yesterday and evaluate what you're doing. And as you watch it, you see it and I see it. It's we weren't cutting guys loose. There wasn't blown coverages. We lost one-on-one matchups at times, and they sometimes they had a couple steps on our guys. But we just gotta play the ball better. We look at all personnel options for sure. Don't have unlimited depth to be able to make a bunch of changes, but talked about scheme and be able to do things to help our guys. And there's no question. I mean, we've got to, evaluate everything we're doing, and don't like the outcome. And that was part of the, taking it personal, is the way we played defense was not acceptable, and very, very upset about that, and really bothered by it. And so was here all weekend and trying to fix it. So that's not going to change. No one's going to work any harder than I do to get it right. So, we're looking at all those different things, and it's kind of all of the above, and to be able to help our guys be successful, because it wasn't effort. Our guys played hard, and I don't think we had the same juice we've had, and that's, sometimes hard to do week after week after week. But you have to. You got to bring it. You got to have it in you, and I know it's expected of me to be that way. It's how I expected of them. And so we got to be able to help these younger guys be able to know how that looks each and every time you take the field. So, but that's my responsibility, to get the guys' minds right, to get them to play to the proper effort, and to have the schemes that's going to let us be the most successful on game day. So, yes.
Coach, you preach being aggressive on defense and aggressive as a program. How do you get that aggressiveness mindset to the offensive side of the ball going forward? Yeah, to me it's and I challenge the guys in that regard, because I want to be of that mindset, the way we attack defenses, and I know the scheme has a lot to do with it, and a lot of things that they did to us on Saturday was, made some of that more difficult than it was even the week before. So, but at the same time, I agree, and I think that that's our approach. I want to be, push the envelope in both tempo and creating bigger plays, and try to get our guys in position. We've had, we went through the beginning of the season and evaluate top guys that we wanted to get the ball to and thought were our most explosive guys, and unfortunately, due to various circumstances, those guys aren't here right now, and so we got to adjust and hope to get, Wap was dressed and played a couple snaps, but he couldn't really be effective, and so got Luke back and need to get Wap back, and he's the guy that can help change some plays for us and create explosive plays, and so you just got to be able to find creative ways to do that, and that to me is a matter of trying to, push that envelope in my regard. So yeah, I'm going to continue to, talk through that and want to see it happen. I do. I just want to see us be able to put pressure on the defense.
You've talked about this before, but he has the interception Saturday, so it's kind of relevant again. About you said you talked to other coaches who'd coached their sons about just the way they did it, the way they approached that, and I imagine sort of the coach versus parent relationship. What was maybe some of the advice you got, and how much have you seen that play out, or maybe not play out as you've coached Tomlin?
Yeah, the advice was really, twofold. It was, number one, don't be his position coach. Don't think that's healthy. Think that's really hard to do. If he's a quarterback, don't have him play for you, because that's really, really difficult. And that's exactly what I was told, and I think that's very true, But he's a linebacker, which is a position that I have coached most of my career, but don't coach here. So it all worked in that regard. And the other part of that was, everybody I talked to, there was always growing pains in year one of just kind of figuring it out, and for both sides, I think the biggest challenge is the locker room, for the individual, for the son involved, because, you're always perceived a certain way, especially when you're there year one. Hey, that's the head coach's son, and so how do you just be yourself, So he has to earn their trust, and I think that's, in both as a player and then as just a teammate, and I think that's the thing that people don't really get, and I've been in his shoes before. I played for my dad, and yeah, not at this level where it's all magnified, but the locker room is still the locker room, and you're still the head coach's son. And so you have to prove yourself, in a lot of ways. And so I think that's where the growth comes in. And everybody I've talked to that before all this were saying, hey, there were times where it was hard, boy, and it was, but then once you figure it out, it's like, man, I would never, ever trade that time we had together, And so that's kind of really what was a big deal for us in kind of making the decision to go forward with it, a couple of years ago. And so I just think that, you got to separate. When you're on the field, you're his coach, and that's the key. And he's one of your players. That's easy to say, he's still your son, and so, but you got to be very, impartial. But I've never met too many parents that weren't biased, it's just, I deal with parents all the time, a little bit less now than I did in high school as a coach, but never met one yet that's still their son, so, but at the same time, I got to treat him like everybody else. I really do, and it takes discipline to do that, it helps because he works extremely hard, does everything the right way, and made a big play on Saturday, and he's young and he's growing and developing and all, but that helps, So that was my wife and I always told her, I said my prayer was that he's going to be really good or really bad. You didn't want him to be in the middle, Just make it easy, If they're in the middle, that's when it gets really rough, So fortunately, he's done a great job, so we're proud of him.
Coach, you mentioned mindset a little bit. Having a game against Iowa, it's obviously not the performance you guys wanted, but is there something to having a wake-up call with 5 games left in the season to sort of get your minds right for the tail end? Well,
I'm one of those that, even when something happens that's bad, I'm going to find a way to make it positive, and that's exactly how I look at it. There's no doubt, getting hit upside the head but 2 before doesn't feel very good, but I promise you it'll get your attention. So for whatever reason it was used. And so this one's one of those kind of situations. And I think our guys, were shook a little bit by it and responded by, wanting to say some things. And I thought the way that we responded today and our energy and effort and our focus was excellent. And, we'd rather not happen that way. We'd rather have it the opposite side and catapult you with momentum the other direction. But it's in the past. We can't change it, but we can learn from it and choose to use all the things that led up to it and try to decide, hey, what caused us to be in this position and to have a game like that and address them right now at a critical point in the season. When everybody's kind of trying to figure out, how these – because it's amazing how, one game, it changes how you feel one way or the other. And it can change the trajectory of your season. You see it happen all across the country. You see it happen, other places. And I've been a part of it, both good and bad. And so you have to, and you got to just, to me, it just takes tremendous mental toughness to be able to persevere. Even our one word last week was grit. And, man, it takes a tremendous amount of grit, to be able to persevere through life challenges and seasons challenges. And there's always going to be challenges, and how you respond to those define who you become and how you are known. So to me, it's an opportunity for us to really, challenge our older guys to say, hey, the clock's ticking. There's only so many opportunities left. Younger guys, you're defining and you're laying the foundation for your future program. And so to me, those are both critical things.
Penn State's going to come in not in the best of moods either. They've lost 2 really tough ones at home. But they outgained Ohio State by 200 yards in the first half when they played them. They still have Trace McSorley at quarterback. Talk a little bit about the challenge your defense faces this week.
Oh, yeah. They, there's no question that they've had 2 tough ones, but that doesn't take away from who they are. They're a very talented football team. And got a lot of weapons. It's the best offensive line they've had. Even they've said that pretty clearly. I think everybody that's watched them would agree. Since coach has been there, and a very experienced quarterback that we know full well how good he is. And both when we played him 2 years ago, and then when we played him last year, and then the talented receivers, and they graduate a really good tight end, and then they bring in another true freshman that's really, really talented, and then the running back is really special. Sometimes I think it's the same guy. If they brought him back from last year, but he's his own guy for sure. But he's a special talent. So, but he was number 1 running back in the country coming out of high school. So, that's kind of what they're able to do, and so that's a tribute to how they've recruited and the guys they've got and that they develop, and so very, very talented football players. And for me, as a defensive coach, and the challenge of stopping, whether it's the big Johnson, the receiver, 84, or number 1, who's maybe as fast as guys as we've seen. You saw what he did when he took the slant, went to the house against Ohio State, and so extremely gifted athlete. And big challenge in their defense is, very aggressive, and as you said, they were very, very dominant in that first half. But then you look up and it's 13-7. At the end of the half, and then Ohio State scores quickly in the third quarter, and then they're up 14-13. So. But then they race ahead and get a 12-point lead, and then Ohio State comes roaring back. So it was a great game. between those two teams. And so, very, very talented football team that I know had high hopes and high expectations for this season. And so, they're going to be coming to Bloomington, and they're going to be very hungry and very ready to play and get their season back on track.
Coach, an injury update. Did you lose anybody Saturday? And then also, what about Coy Cronk?
Yeah, we're hoping to get Coy back full bore. So I think that looks good. That looks promising at this point as of today. I know Devon Matthews is a guy that we ended up sitting out, hoping to get him back last weekend, and we did not. We're still a little bit, he needs to continue to get healthier in order for him to play. And then continue to monitoring T.D. Roof and see that he's able to get his body back ready to go. So those would be the three guys that we're looking at. We've already mentioned Wap and his ability to get back, and he was out there today running routes, and still the process continues to get him full speed. So I think we have a chance to be healthier this weekend. You always seem to gain a guy here or two there and lose a guy or two, but we really didn't have a rash. We had several guys that got some things that they had to address, but several of those injuries are able to be, cleaned up over the weekend and then continue to rehab them throughout the first half of the week.